Yo, crazy times. In times like this, you have to define yourself. You have to define who you are as a human. We're all living this human experience, right? We're all humans. Everything else is pretty much up for grabs. Who you become in this life, who you say that you are, the way that you act, the actions that you take define who you are. Each one of us has a different identity based on the way that we define ourselves in the external world. When I step out my front door, nobody knows who I am. Nobody knows what I am. Nobody knows what kind of career I have, what my political affiliations, my religious affiliations, my sexual orientation. People have no clue. And the more well-rounded you are, the less you're going to give that away based on your external appearance. So you have to define who you are in order to get what you want out of life, because you have these desires, right? You have a desire, I'm guessing. I have desires. And so how am I going to get those desires fulfilled? By defining to the external environment who I am and what I want, okay? And in order to get what you want, you have to deserve what you want. That's Charlie Munger, world famous investor. He says, the world is not a crazy enough place to reward a bunch of undeserving people. And you know that's true. It might seem like people are being rewarded undeservedly, but if you really look behind closed doors at what they are doing, they always deserve it. You know this is true because everything you've ever got, you didn't get it unless you deserved it. Everything you didn't deserve, you didn't get. Now, maybe you got screwed once in a while, but deep down, if you look behind this screw up, you realize a point in time when you could have avoided that screw up. You could have avoided being screwed by someone. So the way that you define yourself in this world will set you up for either success or failure at achieving that desire, whatever your desires are, okay? Success is going to be different for every single person, but I don't think anyone can argue that you're not successful unless you're getting what you want. So let's do it, okay? How do you get what you want? You have to define yourself as someone who deserves what you want. And in order to define yourself, you must act, okay? And you must think before you act. So you have to believe it up here, that you are someone who deserves what you want. You have to write out specifically, what is it that you want? Define yourself on a piece of paper first. So you think it, then you write it, then you go do it, okay? But you have to do the first two before you can go do it. The rest of us, we're all out there walking around clueless about what it is we're supposed to do to get what we want. We just hope and pray and feel jealous and feel bitter because we don't have what we want. But it's always our choice. It's always our choice to walk out that front door. I work from home. I don't leave the house unless I have to go to jiu-jitsu or go to the grocery store. So I'm deciding every time I walk out my front door who I am in that moment. I'm someone who needs to go buy their own groceries. I'm someone who needs groceries. I'm someone who goes to train jiu-jitsu at 6:30 every day because that's what time that my jiu-jitsu gym is open. So, and the days that I stay home from jiu-jitsu, I'm deciding at that time that I'm someone who doesn't want to go to jiu-jitsu today or doesn't have the time to go to jiu-jitsu. I could have rearranged my schedule, but I defined myself before I even started, okay? So every result that we get in life is based on our definition of ourselves, okay? So I'm someone who's struggled with chronic depression for a long time. That's my definition. That's a definition that I accepted, and I had to accept it because at a certain point, I wanted to commit suicide. And at that moment, I had to decide what's more important than this identity of someone who doesn't know who they are in life. Life and death, right? Like, I don't want to die. So I had to create a new identity. The identity that I chose fortifies me in life as another human with potential to live forever. Otherwise, my potential to live was coming to a complete halt. So I redefined myself as someone who is recovering from depression, someone who is in pursuit of understanding of mental health and spirituality, so that I could no longer suffer this existential depression. And as a result, I wrote a book that is helping other people with existential depression called Get Your Mojo Back. Isn't that unique? 5 years later, I created a unique path for myself as a depression recovery author. That was not my identity 6 years ago. Not even close. So I had to define myself in order to keep surviving. Uniquely, humans are the most adaptable creatures. We were the first to equip tools and start developing our abilities based on what we can craft and create. Spear, hammer, you know. We are the most adaptable species. That's what makes us humans. That's what makes us unique. We don't have big fangs. We don't have sharp talons. We've got adaptability. And as a human, you need to define your adaptability. What is it? What is it going to be? Some people are really adaptable when it comes to education, academics. Some people are really adaptable when it comes to sports, you know. Decide your adaptability. Define it. Define who you are. Define what makes you that special person. It's always going to be behind that ability to adapt to changes in your environment. Every animal that fails to adapt in nature goes extinct. Don't let that happen to you. It doesn't matter what's going on in the world today. It's all external. What's going on in your world depends on what you decide, what you think, what you do, okay? The best advice I can give you is spend a little time with yourself before you walk out the front door. Spend a little time with yourself. Write down what you want. Define who you are in your mind. Then on paper, decide who you are today, right now. Don't live any longer without doing this. You're wasting your time if you don't know what you're trying to define to the external world. Without the need to define yourself to the external world, you would be in heaven. You would be able to sit at home, happy on the floor with your eyes closed forever, okay? Because you have no desire. You no need to define yourself. Eventually you get hungry. Eventually you get sleepy and thirsty and whatever, impoverished or pressured in some way. These become desires unfulfilled. And then you have to go out into the universe, into the external world, open your eyes, walk out the front door, and start exposing yourself so that you can get what you want, the desires unfulfilled. Here you are in this place where you have the opportunity to do so properly, maybe for the first time in your life. Don't waste this chance. This is it. Close your eyes. Spend 5 minutes thinking about what is it that I truly want more than anything. What is it that I would die for? What am I living for? Write it down. Doesn't matter if it sounds crazy. Everything's going to sound crazy to you right now. That's outside of your current experience. Your current experience is reality. Everything outside of your current experience is surreality or extra reality, okay? So you need to go define it, write it on a piece of paper so that it becomes a part of your actual current active reality. And then you can start to manifest that in your real world, okay? Developing a habit is a perfect way to manifest this. For example, I never used to do jujitsu. 5 years later, one day, I decided to walk into a jiu-jitsu gym. 5 years later, I can do jiu-jitsu with anybody. You know what I mean? So, anybody in the whole world who does jiu-jitsu, like, they can enjoy rolling with me. I've been doing it for 5 years. I'm really good. That became, and now I can speak to people who do jiu-jitsu really well. I can speak to people in MMA and they can give me respect because they know that I can submit anybody probably. 5 years is a long time. So that level of reality was attained. I shouldn't say level, but that different field of reality was attained by me at a time when I was a different human. I was a different type of person. The person you see speaking to you right now was not existent 5 years ago. I was a different person, okay? I was soft. I was afraid. All I did was play music in my room and then leave for shows and then come back to my room. And like, I couldn't talk to girls that well. Like, all the success I had with social success and romantic success was based on just default outcomes. It was not based on skill. It was not based on me being good socially. Every friend I've made in the last 5 or 6 years Every opportunity that I had with dating or with social life or business life opportunities, right? These social opportunities were generated by my conscious effort to become someone else. So it's possible for everyone, for you, for me. If I can do it, you can do it. And that's it. That's what this video is about. This video is about me telling you, you have to define yourself if you want to get what you want. You have to define yourself if you want to survive out there. The world gets crazier. In times of prosperity, we're not thinking about it. In times of chaos and uncertainty, it's when it's the most important. So here we are in this time. Don't let this window of opportunity pass you by. I'm here, sitting here in my office telling you, hey, just give it a minute. Just give it a minute. 5 minutes tops. 10 minutes, if you can. And we'll do this together, okay? I'm gonna make sure I'm better focused. We'll do this together. You can go to getyourmojobackbook.com and get a copy of my book, ebook or paperback. Or you can just go to GodXP and check out our other digital products, okay? GodXP.com or getyourmojobackbook.com. Look, get in contact with me. This is all about me trying to help people. I make these videos not because I want to benefit or gain. I just want to help. I have a second chance at life. What if this is why you live, to help humankind, okay? You have to find that inside of you. Everyone's got it. It doesn't matter if you're a mechanic, a painter, a banker. It doesn't matter what you do for a living. Those are all transitory identities. You can retire from those. You can't retire from being a human. All you can do is be a human. Okay? So find out what that means to you and put it to use. Go out and manifest that in your external world. The potential is within. It's behind your two closed eyes, okay? The first tool you need beside your sit bones and your two eyelids is this, the pen, okay? The pen is mightier than the sword. The pen is the sword. Your words will change nations, okay? Think about what's going on right now. It's not by the sword that this is going on. It's by the pen. So, first thing you do is you take a piece of paper and you start defining. What is life? Who am I? What do I want? You want something, and that thing you want probably didn't exist in your past. If it does, then you want it a little bit differently because it didn't work out. Otherwise, it wouldn't be in your past. So, what you want is a future. You want a different future than you're expecting based on your current actions and behaviors, okay? If you're the slowest deer, you're going to get eaten. You want to become the smartest deer, the fastest deer, okay? The most alert, at least. So define it. What do you want? Who am I? You know, for me personally, I am here to lead a personal development revolution. I am here to teach individual consciousness enlightenment. Okay? I'm not here for the collective consciousness. I'm not here to politic and become a group thought leader. I'm here to help the individual overcome individual existential dilemma, existential crisis. Okay? Because of what I've been through my entire life. I was an 11-year-old Christian missionary in Kenya leading people to Christ. And that set me on a path, a perpetual path of just, what is God? Who is God? What is this experience of spirituality? And how can I help people in the most authentic way possible? This is what I was thinking when I was 11. Everyone has their own path, you know. My parents didn't put me on a path. They just kind of like said, God's the way, follow God. And that left me with a lot of open-ended gameplay. And you cannot escape your purpose. But I promise you that if your purpose doesn't sound sweet, then it's not your purpose. If what you have right now isn't tasty, isn't sweet, isn't divine, then it's not right. You will find the right thing. The right thing will make you want to live forever. The right thing will make you want to be here. okay? And manifest your fullest potential. You know what that is. Because when I was little, even before I was 11, when I was like 5, 6 years old, I'd be in the backyard pretending to be a Power Ranger, pretending to be a superhero. Iron Man, Spider-Man, Captain America. Why? Because I was a kid. I didn't have anyone to say, you know, that's not gonna work out. You gotta be a chef or a painter or a hairstylist, whatever. I knew what I wanted to be. I wanted to save the world. I wanted to be a part of the good guys. So here I am, trying to make that happen as I'm 30 years old. You know, I've been running a business for 5 years. Wasn't enough. I wrote a book. Hopefully that helps, but still not enough. I gotta make more videos. I gotta do something. Every single day I wanna help at least one more person get out of where I was, that place of purposelessness, that place of life has no meaning and I shouldn't live. Life has no meaning, so what? Your point is to define the meaning of your life. The point is you are the player of your one-player game in this world. It's just you and God. And God's showing you a movie and saying, hey, check this thing out. It's called life. How do you want it to go? At the end, you get to taste the outcome. And that's the whole point of life, is so that in the end, you can taste that final sweetness, that final ending to your story that just sums up your enlightenment, sums up your life. All in one final, it's the most beautiful movie you'll ever see. You can't see a better movie than the one of your own life. You might not think that right now because you're cynical and stubborn and you don't think that your life has any meaning or value. But I promise you, there's not a movie you'll have ever seen that will make more sense to you than your own life at the very, very last scene. So you want to paint that as beautifully as possible. God's letting you decide what your goals are. The game is obvious. The game is the external world. And God's letting you decide how the narrative goes. You're the director of your own life, okay? So write it down. Write out who you are. Write it out in scene by scene if you want. You can write out your entire life. Now, it might not go that way, but at least you have a framework. At least you have a map. At least you have a guide that you created for yourself. There's no one here to tell you but God. You and God are the only players in this game. I'm just a character, an avatar, to tell you, hey, this is something. I'm trying to point you to the way, okay? So only you can find the way. And that's what makes it beautiful. So your best friend is going to be a piece of paper and a notebook, okay? A notebook and a pen. It's going to be your best friend. Find a way to become the author, the director, the scientist, the architect of your life, okay? That's my 18 minutes of good sense for you today. I hope it helps. I'm Anthony Polanco. If you want any more help on this, get my book. It's super easy to read. I didn't put everything I know into it. It's not what it's about. It's a handbook, okay? It's easy to read. You can read it in 90 minutes probably. Less, 60 minutes. This book is not meant to be read once. It's meant to be read and come back to every time you need help, every time you're in trouble, okay? GetYourMojoBackBook.com, GodXP.com. We're going to keep doing this for the rest of my life. We're going to keep making things that help people gain control of their individual consciousness and become the directors of their own life. To tap into that sense of oneness with God over time. It's not going to be easy. Close your eyes and meditate. God is always there, okay? He's always waiting to give you that experience of him. The universe, if you have a problem with the word God because of your past, the universe, the source, that infinite intelligence that created everything, the fact that you were animated this morning, whatever energy source gave you the animation, woke up your brain, plugged in your batteries and flipped the on switch. It wasn't you. You didn't know you were going to wake up. You hoped, you had faith that you would wake up when you went to sleep, but that faith is in something outside of yourself. Otherwise, you would have been horrified to go to sleep because you know for a fact that you're not the one saying, brain on, I'm awake now, beep. That's not happening. You're just waking up. It's happening unconsciously. Otherwise, you need to set an alarm, you know? And even that is faith. You're having faith that closing your eyes and turning off your brain doesn't mean death. So in nature, the lion might come and eat you in the night if you sleep too hard. So there's my logic chain for why God exists. Because you didn't choose to wake up, you know, and you have faith in something every time you go to sleep. It's more likely that I don't exist, okay? So just run with that. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I have a feeling that this made a lot of sense to you. So I appreciate you watching, and get in touch with me, okay? Be blessed. Peace out.